Hello, everybody. Welcome back to Flight Past. And today we will be looking at Juno. So let's do that. Just a quick overview here. Juno kind of begins here to the west of Courseulles-sur-Mer and comes round via Bernières-sur-Mer down to Saint-Aubin-sur-Mer. And Langrune-sur-Mer is kind of the edge, and then we get into Sword Beach itself. So let's start off where we finished, which was up here at Gold, and we'll fly down the coast from about here. Okay. Let's just get stable here. I think I might have an issue with the game audio. Bear with. Okay, so hopefully you can hear the audio now. Well, it just goes to show we're live. So we're flying here. This is the Huey in the Air America livery, and we're flying west at the moment. Heading towards Juno. So in the last stream we did, we looked at an overview, flew down the beach here, and what we're going to do now is we'll head to Mike sector, and we will do a talk about that section. Okay, let's lose some height here. So below us is Courseulles-sur-Mer, and the little sort of fishing harbour here. And this, so from this point here up is Mike section, so we'll just lose a bit more height. And this is it's the 3rd Canadian Infantry Division coming along here, and this is split into 2 brigades. You've got the 7th Canadian Infantry Brigade was going to be landing from Mike Green to Nan Green. So that would be Mike Green, Mike Red, and Nan Green. And then the 8th Canadian Division Brigade would be landing between Nan White and Nan Red, so that's Bernières-sur-Mer to St. Aubin-sur-Mer. So let's talk about Mike Green, which is actually this green section that you see just here. It's a section that was assaulted by the Royal Winnipeg Rifles with C Company of the 1st Canadian Scottish Regiment. This whole section, Mike, is attacked by these guys, and on the other side of the river here, this is where the Regina Rifle Regiment would come in. So they would be coming in on the other side of the river here, and this is Nan Green. So as we say, H-hour was designed to be 7:35. Each H-hour got later and later as we go eastwards, as the tide begins to come in on the west and rolls around the bay. So where we were talking up at Utah, H-hour was probably around 6:30. Up here it's almost an hour later. But due to the rough seas that everywhere was experiencing at the time, this H-hour is delayed to 7:45. And on Mike Red and Mike Green, 2 companies of the Royal Winnipeg Rifles and 1 company of the Canadian Scottish Regiment, supported by the 1 squadron of the 1st Hussars, they come ashore. Nan Green, which is just here on our left right now. This is assaulted by the Regina Rifle Regiment, and they're supported by the 2nd Squadron of the 1st Hussars. So 7:49 then the Winnipegs come ashore, followed in by other companies minutes later. And LCAs of B Company come under fire whilst about 700 yards out, which is around about here. And the landings are conducted under direct fire. They get held up on this red section beach, which you can see below us here. This has WN31, and it also has 3 casements of guns, 50mm, 120mm guns, with 12 machine gun positions with Tobruk's and things like that. And because they've come in slightly before the armour, they get pinned down and they have to wait. So that's B Company. D Company comes in to the west. They are with C Company of the Canadian Scottish Regiment coming in on Mike Green. They're lightly contested in this area here. They find that their first objective, which was a 75mm gun emplacement, has already been destroyed. So it's early signs basically that if you're coming ashore where it's these green areas, you tend to find that the opposition is on the beach anyway is less, and so they can get ashore and establish themselves. But if you're attacking anywhere near the built-up areas, that's when you get the heaviest opposition. In terms of the follow-up waves, the 9th Infantry Brigade is the reserve formation to come in. At 8 o'clock, tanks eventually arrive there from B Squadron of the Hussars. They come ashore, and the Regina Rifles, they are coming ashore at 8:09 in the Nan Green sector. And their objective is to neutralize the defenses in this village or town here, Courseulles-sur-Mer. A company of the Regina Rifles land just in this area where this white dot is now, and they face heavy resistance. And at 8:15, B Company the Regina Rifles. They come ashore and they're tasked with neutralizing the heavy gun emplacement that has 88mm and 75mm guns in a thick encasement that is enfilading down the beach on A Company. And the DD tanks arrive and manage to take out these guns, which was on the WN 29. And then B Company then pushed on into the village. The Royal Winnipeg Rifles, A Company and C Company, they land and they push towards the villages of Banville and Saint-Croix-sur-Mer. This is, I believe this is Banville. So this is Courseulles-sur-Mer here, and then I think the this village up here is Banville. So let's just fly up here. So this is where the Royal Winnipeg Rifles push inland, try to take these villages, and they're from here they would then push on to Colombières-sur-Mer and Pierrepont, and what they're trying to get to was an objective which was called Elm, codenamed Elm, and it was a line that ran to try to take out these key places. This is so this is Banville, and Saint Croix is this village over here. So this is their initial objectives. To get here, seize the road junctions, stop anything coming down onto the beaches, and push on inland, eventually to get to that road we were talking about, the N13, which was between Bernières and Caen. Um, 835 C Squadron, C Company and D Company of the Regina Rifles, they arrive there to reinforce A and B companies. C Company pushes into Courseulles itself, but D Company gets delayed when several of their LCAs hit mines as they arrive. And the Scottish, Canadian Scottish Regiment begin to receive mortar fire on Mike at this point on the beach. Remember, the tide, it was a turning tide, so 1 hour later these the tide's coming in, and these LCAs start to hit these uncleared mines on the beach. Okay, let's move on now to Nan White and Nan Red. Just change this scroll for you. I'm gonna head back without crashing. I was going to see if I could do a whole stream without crashing, but it seems to be a tradition. Okay, so Nan White. So we're now talking about the 8th Canadian Infantry Brigade, who are supported by the 10th Canadian Armoured Regiment. And here we are at Bernières-sur-Mer, which you can basically remember as this is the Nan White section. Nan White sort of begins where this green field is here, and then and moves east here. Here is the Church of Saint Bernier, and what we have here is the Nan White is the initial assault is given to the Queen's Own Rifles, and they are coming ashore at around about 10 past 8. This is has been described as one of the most tenaciously defended areas on the Normandy coastline. You can see the nature here. It's built up. It's on a promontory, and they've got a stander's nest here that it has a gun that enfilades down the beach. If you look at old aerial photographs, in fact, let's just see if we can see these. There is basically evidence here of trench systems interlocking in these buildings. I just wonder if we could still see some evidence of that. Sometimes when you've got a summer shot, you can see the way the grass grows can show traces of these old positions. But this is basically the kind of shots of the Germans had their Verstander's nest, and they were tended to be pointing down the beaches like this, so that they can't be hit from the naval bombardment, but they are designed to hit any tanks on their side armor, which would tend to be weaker. This sections has an 88mm gun emplacement with multiple machine gun nests, and what happens here is the Queen's Own Rifles land, but they're coming. They're landing almost, well, B Company lands almost 200 yards to the east of their intended landing zone, so the formations get split as they're coming in, and they come under heavy mortar and machine gun fire. Again, on this section, the D-Day tanks arrive late. It's better than at Utah. At least they arrive. At Utah, they didn't get there because they released them too far out. The Royal Navy tended to think a little bit more on their feet, and immediately saw the situation with the heavy seas, and ordered the LCTs to carry on in to shore, not drop them off about 7,000 yards out. So the main emplacement is outflanked by B Company of the Queen's Own Rifles. Eventually, with the support of the tanks coming in, and then they push in into Bernières South. A Company on the west encounters less resistance, but they their armoured support is a lot further out to be useful at this point. And so we now move down to Nan Red. So let's come round. And Nan Red begins in between Saint-Bernier here and Saint-Aubin-sur-Mer. So this is where this over here. This is the church here marks Saint-Aubin-sur-Mer, and this is the responsibility of the North Shore Regiment. The initial assault is conducted by A and B Company of the North Shore Company Regiment. They're tasked with clearing out Saint-Aubin. This is where they arrive. They're in chest deep water. They're trying to get in, and they realise that the Vistanza nest here, number 27, hasn't been touched, and they have to cross the beach. They have to wade in just deep water and then cross a 100-yard beach. So they suffer some of the highest casualties on the day. And again, the Shermans. This is all around about 8 o'clock. At 10 past 8, the DD Shermans actually come ashore, and then they manage to assist the B Company in clearing the Vistanza's nest position. So Nan White, Nan Red. So back at Nan White, the reserves begin to come ashore, but half the LCAs are damaged by mines. C Company, they come in behind A Company, who are the ones who came in just to the west of Saint-Bernier, and they had been pinned down because the armour hadn't arrived. And then C Company and D Company of the North Shore regiment. They arrive at Saint-Aubin, and there's my first crash. Yay! Always got to have one. So, so the Nan Red wasn't going so well because of the high casualties that the North Shore experienced. This meant that a decision was made. Well, first of all, the 48 Commando, Royal Marine Commando, they land, and their job, they were coming in as the reserves, and their job was to land here and then push to the east and head down to Langogne-sur-Mer and Lyons-sur-Mer, which is down here, and eventually join up with the British forces landing at Sword Beach. But because Nan Red hadn't been going so well, this is the they were facing greater strength at Saint-Aubin than they thought. They actually, of their 450 odd men that was coming in at this time, they took 120 casualties just getting off the beach, because the beach had not been cleared. The lack of progress on this section of the beach here meant that the reserves coming in from the 9th Canadian Infantry Brigade, it was decided that they couldn't land at Nan Red, and so they were diverted to Nan White instead. And so the area here around Bernières, this area sort of here, becomes highly congested with landing craft, to the point where some landing craft just couldn't disembark their troops. They had to circle in order to come in. It also meant that these landing craft starts to become easy targets for German artillery, who got this beach zeroed in. Then by about midday, sappers managed to clear the beach of obstacles, clear the minefields, and then they could start to clear the congestion on the beach and get these troops and armor off. Because at the time, the beach is the area where the Germans have zeroed in, so you don't want to be on the beach. You want to be anywhere but the beach. Get off the beach, get inland, and then you're probably more safe from artillery. Okay, so that eventually the second wave got on around about midday, getting later, and most of the objective, I suppose they codenamed it U and Elm, so they had two lines. Sort of the objective U was basically to push in and capture the towns of Saint-Aubin, Saint-Bernier,
Courseulles-sur-Mer and the little village on the other side of the river called Courseulles-sur-Mer. Okay, so what we could do is we'll I think what we'll do is we'll we'll try and follow the progress of these units inland, and we'll show where they go. So okay, so what we're going to do now is we'll fly Operation U was the first objective of the Canadians, and this was basically to capture the town of Courseulles-sur-Mer, Bernières-sur-Mer, Saint-Aubin-sur-Mer, crack the crust, and also this village over here off the nose now, which is called Courseulles-sur-Mer. So it in fact, let's just what we'll do, we'll fly this Operation U objective line. So this is the village below us here of Courseulles-sur-Mer, and we're going to follow this objective U line, the planned line. So it was to capture this village here, which is the Courseulles-sur-Mer, and it's just establishing a beachhead that is approximately 1 to 2 kilometers inland. This is the objective of kind of the first wave. That's what they hoped would be. Achieved. When the reserves come in, they then push on past this line, and what we'll do is we'll actually follow the line then. From of where they actually got to on the end of D-Day itself. So we're coming up here on Saint-Aubin. So what we have, the way things happen is the actual line that the
they got to at the end of the first day. In terms of actually eastwards, it was only about where we are now. Up ahead of us is Langrune-sur-Mer, and beyond that is Lyons-sur-Mer, and this is actually where the German 21st Panzer Armoured Division gets to. Realizes it's basically out of being surrounded and pulls back. So they almost got panzers on the beach. But this is where we were following the line now of where the Allies get to on D-Day. This road here, they come in behind Le Grune. They managed to push to about here, and then the line moves around and comes, I believe, up this way. I think this is Douve. This is the village of Tailleville. This is the limit of where the North Shore Regiment gets to. The Queen's Own Rifles, they push on to a place called Bernières-sur-Mer, and then from then they actually push over a village called Bazley, and they stretch over the Objective Elm place. They're heading towards the airfield. They don't make it, but I've got this valley here. This is a tributary to the Sil. Fontaine Henri. This is one of the maximum extents that the Regina Rifles Regiment gets to. And then we're heading towards the town of Pierrepont. And Pierrepont is the Objective Elm line, one of the ones they wanted to get to, and it was where the Royal Winnipegs managed to push through to, and the Canadian Scottish Regiment. You can see the landscape here is it's very open. This is quickly becomes an area which is filled with over the subsequent weeks airfields. You can see how these fields are conducive to airfields, and we might be able to detect some evidence of them. And then we get to the river here. This is the Courseulles, which will head back and this we're now following the advances of the Royal Winnipegs and the Regina rifles managed to get. They went to Colombières-sur-Mer, which I believe should be just... Yeah, is this... this place here. Okay. So, this is going to be the last one we do on Juno, and in the future, next week, we're looking to do Sword Beach. And once we've done Sword Beach, that means that we've done the whole Normandy landing just for the D-Day section. And we can fill in different gaps as we're going along. I promised you I would be doing the Brothers in Arms story of the Sherwood Rangers. I wanted to have a proper look into Sword Beach. Oh, let's just finish this one by the actual casualties figures here. There was on the beach itself, the beaches of Juno, 340 soldiers approximately were killed. 574 were wounded, and there were 47 captured. The total cost on D-Day was 381 killed, over 580 wounded, and 131 captured. It's been said that the Omaha is called Bloody Omaha, and it is in terms of raw numbers. But if you were a soldier, then you had, arriving on this beach, you had a higher chance of being a casualty. I think because Omaha was 2 divisions, it meant that I think the casualty rate was like something like 1 in 19 would be a casualty. But on Juno itself, the casualty rate, because it was only a 1 division arriving, was 1 in 18. So there was a higher probability of you being injured or killed on this section than in any other on D-Day. So, I hope you enjoyed that. And if you did and you watch these things, then please like and subscribe. It would be really handy for a small channel. Every single like or watch matters at this stage in a channel's career. So that would be greatly appreciated. You'll find various replays and videos on the YouTube channel. So if you're watching this on Twitch, you can come look. All the stuff you can be played back on YouTube. For lovers of architecture as well, I'd like to mention my other channel, which is called Iparaten. I'll put a link up above, and it basically uses Minecraft to talk about the history of buildings, and in that we've been building Salisbury Cathedral, and we're in the process at the moment of building Notre Dame de Paris. And it's more of an architecture thing, but we do talk about the history of the buildings on that, and I will do a section as well flying around the cathedrals and the buildings I'm doing. On that side as well, it is my music channel, so my music is also set to this stuff, and I will tend to do a radio show probably once a week, and I do a build talk as well. So if you want to go across and watch that, that would be great as well. So I leave you flying towards our next chat, which is this beach here. And this is Sword Beach, and this will be the subject of a series of talks next week, possibly 2 weeks worth on this. And if you've watched from the very beginning, you know now we are back on the British section. We've talked about Operation Tonga, so this will wrap up our chat on D-Day. For those that are new on the show, we're always developing and moving, and the goalpost trying to find a nice sweet spot. But what I will be doing is we'll be moving on to different sections, different histories. It's not all going to be World War II, so stick around for that. So on that note, I hope you will have a great week, a great Easter. I will see you around on some of the other channels in the future, but otherwise I'll say goodbye.